According to Mark Gurman at Bloomberg, Apple has started exploring a smart glasses project dubbed Project Atlas. This has only gotten off the ground last week and is currently at the stage of gathering feedback and ideas from Apple employees. A quote from Mark Gurman's newsletter: "When Apple is considering whether to enter a new category, it often hosts secret focus groups to understand what people like about existing products." The more I've settled on this report, we spoke about it a bit on Connected, and you know, it's been about a week now since this report came out. The more I kind of feel like I'm not sure what I think about this. Like, what is this project they're just starting? Like, just starting, and how long is that until there's a project? Like, I don't know what I think about this.
So I think one of the challenges here is it could be one of two things. It could be that Apple has completely written this entire category off, and finally they have said, oh, gee, I guess there is something here. Maybe we should talk to people about what they get out of this thing. Because, in fact, you could imagine, if you mention the internal politics, it's like whoever's in charge of wearables and stuff looks at this and is like, this is stupid. We're not going to do something like that. Why would we bother? We have AirPods. They're better, whatever. And then there's a little bit of momentum, and somebody somewhere with more authority is like, why are you guys not working on this? And it's possible that the person who's poo-pooed this before is like, all right, I guess we should talk to people who like this thing and figure out why they like it. And it might even be like, we need to prove why this is a thing that people care about, because obviously our people thought that it was dumb, but obviously somebody cares about it. So it's possible that this is a somewhat functional response to a somewhat dysfunctional situation where somebody, and I've seen this happen, right? You've seen this happen too, where somebody in a position of authority doesn't get it. And no matter what you do, they just don't get it. And you know you're right, but you just can't make them see it. Mm-hmm. And that's a possibility here. And if so, it's not great, because it means that Apple is behind on something that, honestly, with the money and the resources Apple has, Apple should be investigating all sorts of different shapes and sizes and product types for things that are wearables, including something like this. It's also possible that there was a domain issue where, because their glasses, I mean, we see this when people discuss this too. You start talking about the Meta Ray-Bans and everybody starts talking about the Vision Pro. And it's like, those products, other than that they're on your face, are completely not alike. Maybe they will be someday, but they are entirely different classes of product today. The Meta Ray-Bans and the Vision Pro, the Meta Ray-Bans and the Meta Quest 3, right? Like, they are not the same at all. They are not even remotely the same. But it's possible that there's a turf war somewhere where the Vision Pro people are like, no, we have all glasses belong to us. And there's somebody over doing AirPods. It's like, but we just want to make AirPods and glasses. And they're like, nope, can't do it. Not allowed. So that's a possibility. Also would be a little bit disturbing, right? Because that's a dysfunction inside Apple that made them fail to do this. Mm-hmm. However, I will also give the optimistic read here, which is Mark Gurman only has one view here into this product, and he is referring to this focus group. And I would say I'm not entirely convinced that the focus group is step one. What would encourage me is if Apple does have people doing wearables R&D who've come up with all sorts of things that are like the Meta Ray-Bans, and it's never really gone anywhere because they haven't really cracked it. What's Apple's take on it? Why would people like it? And they're like, yeah, we could put AirPods in glasses, but why? And how would that work? And, you know, I would say last week's Connected, a little bit of follow-out here. I think Federico especially did a very good job of kind of elaborating what an Apple version of the Meta Ray-Bans would be like. Mm-hmm. And the answer is, could be really good, because Apple has some huge advantages there. Like his point that if you take a photo with the Meta Ray-Bans, you have to like go to their app and then export it to the camera roll or the photo library. And like, imagine if it was Siri and the Photos library and Apple Intelligence and AirPods and all integrated like every other Apple wearable. That would be pretty good, right? So my hope is that this is not step one. My hope is that they've been trying stuff out, but before they lock down exactly what the product is, there was a feeling like they needed to talk to people because they were concerned that they didn't get it. That they didn't get what exactly makes this product interesting. So there is, if you want a positive read, a potential optimistic read, that's it. But I agree with you, Myke. I am concerned that whatever the reason is, and I just listed a few of them, that Apple, whether it was a Vision Pro kind of turf war, or whether it was a lack of imagination from people who were on the wearables team or people in positions of authority on the wearables team, that they've missed the boat on this. And the concerning thing is, when you get a report that says, well, we just got a bunch of employees together and we talked to them, it's like, that doesn't even sound like look, Apple having launched a crash project to make glasses, for like AirPod style glasses, crash program, they're starting, it'll be out in a couple of years, would be a disappointing report.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's Apple is talking to employees to get their feelings about what they might do to consider starting making a project, right? You're not at square one then. You're at square minus one, right? Like that's the thing that bothers me, is if this is the beginning of the process, what took them so long? And it implies a level of kind of cluelessness and dysfunction. So what I want to believe is that they have been playing around with this category concept and just are going to people because they want to lock it down and make sure that it's going to fulfill what they desire. But that's the most optimistic read I can have here. The pessimistic read is they blew it and they're still kind of blowing it.
So someone wrote into me and said that, like, this report is wrong. Apple has internally been working on a glasses product for as long as they've been working on the Vision Pro. But, that this person wrote and told me this, and I believe it, but my expectation is that's not the product I'm thinking it is, though.
That's AR glasses.
Yes,
right?
And I think
this is not AR glasses.
This is a take AirPods but glasses, right? I think that
this is Siri glasses. It's glasses with speakers or bone conduction, but like basically AirPods, and a camera, which is great for visual intelligence, and a microphone, and you can do Siri with it, and except you wear them as glasses. That's all this is. It's not something with a display. Again, and that's one of the challenges here, is that what if that tripped people up and they're like, no, stay out of this category. But I have a hard time imagining, I will say this for the case for optimism here is, I have a hard time imagining that inside Apple, the people who build AirPods and the people who are apparently, according to Mark Gurman, trying to build AirPods with cameras in them, that they haven't considered the idea of, well, what would make this a lot better is if we just made a pair of glasses that had AirPods in them, some version, bone conduction, whatever it is, and then we could get the camera position just right. Like, how could they not have been experimenting with that? It seems so clear to me, but that takes me back to my worry, which is there some person with a lack of vision or a political something that has led them to kind of sideline this product?
I have a couple of thoughts on this. One is, like, I agree with what you're saying, but I do feel like at the same time that, the Meta Ray-Bans have been around for a while. The version 1, nobody really paid much attention to. Didn't think it was that great of a product.
And the
version
Snap
2
stuff,
and still even then, right? People, I think there was a feeling that, like, nobody wants this. They don't want cameras on their faces. But then Meta made a compelling enough product that it worked, and that's been within the last year or so.
Right.
And I'll repeat.
So do you dust off the old project at that point and go, "Oh, geez, we got to get something out there"?
This is my concern, right? And I mentioned this in Connected. I'll repeat it here too. My concern is that there is such a disdain for Meta inside of Apple that they would be blinded to the fact that Meta could create a compelling product. And so seeing this competitive product out there, they were just like, well, that's not going to work. No one's going to want that. And they ignored the category. That is my concern. And that if they have ignored the category, which Mark Gurman's report seems to indicate, then we are multiple years away from them producing a product like this, which at that point I think is a problem.
It's not great, and you're right. That if there is some institutional arrogance where they're like, "Oh, Meta, whatever Meta does, don't do it. Do the opposite." And like, again, I'm sure some people are out there listening to this like, "Why is this even a category? Why are we even talking about it?" But I can tell you, I know people, Myke, Federico, others who have this product, and it's pretty cool. And Federico, like I said last week, made the really good, succinct point about how imagine if this actually was an Apple product. It would be better integrated, and it would be good for Apple, and it would be like a different version of AirPods that's got a bunch of other stuff in it. And it's a really interesting idea. And look, not every product is going to come out. And it's possible that, again, people at Apple have looked at this and have said it's not a thing. The danger is that it is a thing and they made a mistake, and how quickly can they repeat it? And the other thing that I would say here, and this is, so I was a little behind the scenes. I listen to podcasts when I'm walking the dog and when I'm taking a shower. I believe this was in the shower, washing my hair, putting in some conditioner, listening to Connected. And I had this thought, which is, say what you will about how efficient and powerful and profitable today's Apple is. If I were Tim Cook, Jeff Williams, any senior person at Apple, one of the weaknesses that I would identify in Apple today is that Apple is so streamlined. Apple is so efficient. I wonder if they've lost the ability to move quickly. And Apple needs to be nimble. It needs to not be a lumbering colossus, right? It needs to be nimble. And I would look at this and say, we can do a better product than Meta's Ray-Bans.
Yep.
And let's do it.
Yep.
And I would say something like, I want to announce it next fall. And everybody's going to be like, but we can't make a product in a year. And what I would say is, well, the iPod came together in like a year and a half. The iPhone was a lot of research, right? Okay, I'll give you that. But like, this is an accessory product, and we have all the pieces. And like, if Apple, maybe not a year, maybe it's 18 months, but like, this is the thing. This is my real question here, is if Apple has realized that this is a thing that they should make, probably. They're not quite sure exactly what. They've got the pieces, but they have to put it together. They might have some prototypes, but they're not really right. How quick can they turn that into a product? My concern is what you said, which is it's 2-3 years away. This is like all the rumors about those HomePods, like the HomePod with the screen. We've been talking about, it feels like we've been talking about that for like 5 years. And look, not everything is a priority one category, but I would say you need, if you have a lack of vision sometimes in the tech space that moves really fast, and I understand artificial intelligence is actually probably the best example here, where Apple Intelligence is a moment where the company has to turn on a dime. Okay, I'll give you that one. But on the hardware side, here's an example, which is you make a lot of money from wearables, home, and accessories. You have a hot accessory category that you didn't think was going to click, and it clicks. How fast can you get a product out? I'll tell you, Samsung can get it out real fast. Can you? And I'm not saying make it bad. I'm saying make it real good. Make it up to Apple's standards. But how fast can you do that? And that's my concern about this story writ large. Is I'm a little worried that politics might make them clueless. I'm a little worried about all of that. I'm a little worried about maybe some turf wars and things like that. But my biggest concern is you're going to miss stuff. How do you react to that? And my concern is that they're unable to react quickly, right? That is the biggest worry to me, is the broader inability to work quickly.